My brother was smiling as he signed the papers to have me declared incompetent, thinking he'd just stolen my grandmother's $50 million estate. He didn't know that the medical records he submitted to the court were actually a trap set by his own psychiatrist. 5 minutes later, the police walked in, not to take me to a psych ward, but to arrest him for conspiracy to commit bodily harm. But I'm getting ahead of myself. To understand the look on Leo's face when the handcuffs clicked, that mixture of confusion and absolute shattering terror, you have to understand the 3 months of hell he put me through. You have to understand the silence, the gaslighting, the way he made me question if I actually was losing my mind. It started on a Tuesday, November 14th. I remember the date because I was staring at a spreadsheet of Nana Rose's estate taxes. Nana Rose wasn't just wealthy. She was an institution. She'd bought swampland in Florida in the 1960s that turned into Disney-adjacent real estate. She was sharp, ruthless, and she knew exactly who her grandchildren were. When she passed, she left Leo the house. A nice house. 4 bedrooms in Connecticut. Worth about $1.2 million. She left me everything else. The portfolio. The trust. The rights to the land leases. $50 million. I didn't ask for it. I'm an accountant. I like order. I like my Honda Civic with 140,000 miles on it. I like my quiet apartment with the balcony where my cat Miso watches birds. I didn't need $50 million. But Leo needed it. Or rather, Leo felt he deserved it. He was the golden boy. The star quarterback who peaked at 19. The entrepreneur, whose ventures always needed just one more round of funding from Nana. He drove a leased Range Rover he couldn't afford. He wore watches that cost more than my student loans. He was charming, loud, and absolutely hollow. When the will was read, he didn't scream. That would have been honest. Instead, he went very, very quiet. He walked over to me in the lawyer's parking lot. The gravel crunched under his Italian loafers. He put a hand on my shoulder. It felt heavy. Too heavy. "Dee," he said, his voice dripping with fake concern. "This is too much pressure for you. You know how you get. Anxious. Overwhelmed. Nana made a mistake. She was slipping at the end, we all know that." I stepped back. "She wasn't slipping, Leo. She drafted this 6 years ago." He smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. "We'll fix it. I promise. I won't let this burden destroy you." I drove home feeling cold. Not the weather. A deep internal chill. I locked my door. I fed Miso. I tried to focus on work. I had no idea that he wasn't planning to contest the will. That takes years. That takes lawyers who charge by the hour. Leo didn't have years. As I found out later, he didn't even have weeks. He owed people. Bad people. The kind of people who don't send demand letters. He needed control of that money immediately. And in his desperate gambling addict brain, he decided there was only one way to get it. He had to become my legal guardian. The campaign began slowly. Subtle. Like a gas leak you don't smell until you light a match. First, it was the concerned text to our cousins. "Has Diana seemed manic to you lately?" He called me at 3 a.m. ranting about numbers. I hadn't called him. I was asleep. But when I showed up to our cousin Sarah's baby shower, the room went quiet. Eyes darted away. People spoke to me in that soft, slow voice you use for startled horses. "Are you sleeping, Dee?" Sarah asked, touching my arm. "You look intense." "I'm fine," I said. "I'm just working a lot." "Right," she said. She exchanged a look with her mother. "Leo said you've been working round the clock." Obsessively. Then came the financial gaslighting. "I'm an accountant. I know where every penny goes. My bank notifications are set to instant." One morning I woke up to an alert. $4,000 withdrawal. ATM limit override. I called the bank immediately. "I didn't make this," I told the fraud department. "It was authorized with your PIN and voice confirmation, ma'am," the agent said. My stomach dropped. Leo knew my PIN. He'd looked over my shoulder once at a gas station years ago. He has a memory like a steel trap for numbers. Just not for consequences. I called him. "Did you take money from my account?" "Whoa, Dee," he said, sounding weary. "You gave me that cash yesterday. Don't you remember? You said the spiders were coming to get the bills. You were really upset." "What? I never said that. I don't hallucinate spiders, Leo." "Hey," he soothed. "I'm not fighting you. I'm just worried. You're forgetting things. Big things. He hung up. 10 minutes later I got a text from our Aunt Linda. Leo told me about the spiders. Honey, please see someone. I felt the walls closing in. I checked my call log. No calls to him. I screenshot it. I sent it to Aunt Linda. I didn't call him. She replied, Honey, you can delete call logs. We just want you safe. That was the moment. The I can't win moment. He had the narrative. He had the charm. He was the worried big brother stepping up to care for his spiraling wealthy sister. I was just the crazy spinster with the cats and the inheritance she couldn't handle. I sat on my kitchen floor. Miso head-butted my knee. I felt like I was drowning on dry land. He had access to family status I didn't. He was the man, the loud one, the successful-looking one. I was the quiet nerd. The background character. If he said I was crazy, I was crazy. But he made a mistake. A massive, arrogant mistake. He assumed that because I was quiet, I was weak. He assumed that because I was an accountant, I was boring. He forgot that accountants are essentially detectives. We look for patterns. We look for the things that don't add up. And Leo? He was sloppy. I started digging. Not into his lies about me. Into him. I pulled his public records. I paid for the background checks. And then I found the car. His Range Rover. He'd posted a photo of it on Instagram 3 days ago. #hustle #newwhip. I ran the plates. It wasn't leased. It was a rental. From Hertz at the airport. He was paying $180 a day to pretend he owned a luxury car. Who does that? Someone who is desperate to keep up appearances. That rental car was the loose thread. I pulled it. I took a sick day. I drove to the courthouse in the county where he lived. I spent 6 hours going through civil filings. And there was a lien. Not from a bank. From a private investment group, based in New Jersey. Judgment against Leo tailored for $432,000. Dated 4 months ago. He wasn't just broke. He was in the hole. The kind of hole you don't climb out of with a job. You climb out of it with a windfall. With a $50 million windfall. I sat on the courthouse bench, the dust motes dancing in the light from the high windows. I felt sick. He wasn't just jealous. He was hunting me. He needed me declared incompetent so he could be named my conservator. Then he could access the trust for her care. He'd drain it dry in a year. I went home. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't call Aunt Linda. They wouldn't believe me. They'd think it was another paranoia. She thinks Leo is in the mob now, poor thing. I needed proof. Hard, undeniable proof. 2 days later, Leo showed up at my apartment. He didn't come alone. He brought a woman. Sharp suit, severe glasses, carrying a clipboard. Leo said, standing in my hallway. This is Dr. Evans. She's a crisis interventionist. We're here to help. I stood in the doorway blocking them. I don't need help. Leave. We can't do that, Leo said. He looked sad. It was a good performance. Academy Award level. You sent emails to my boss threatening to burn down his office, Diana. You attached photos of dead animals. My mouth fell open. I did what? It's okay, Dr. Evans said. Her voice was condescendingly soft. We know you aren't yourself. Just let us come in and talk. If you refuse, Leo might have to involve the authorities for an involuntary hold. For your safety. The threat hung in the air. Involuntary hold. The 72-hour psych ward trip. If he got me in there, he'd have the medical paper trail he needed for the judges. I looked at Leo. He was checking his watch. A fake Rolex. I noticed the second hand ticking. Real Rolexes sweep. I'll talk, I said. But not today. I have a client meeting. Tomorrow. 10 a.m. Here. Leo hesitated. He wanted to push. But Dr. Evans nodded. A voluntary meeting is better. Tomorrow, Diana. 10 a.m. They left. I closed the door. Locked it. Deadbolted. Propped a chair under the handle. I was shaking so hard I couldn't type. He had faked emails. He had faked threats. He was escalating. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. I thought it was another one of his doctors. Hello. I whispered. Is this Diana? A man's voice. Calm. But urgent. Who is this? My name is Dr. Eris. I'm a psychiatrist. I've been treating your brother Leo for 6 months. I froze. I can't talk to you. Listen to me very carefully, Dr. Aris said. He signed a HIPAA waiver allowing me to speak to family members if I felt they were a danger to themselves. He did it so I could report on you. I'm not dangerous, I snapped. I know, Dr. Aris said. But he is. The line went silent for a second. Diana, he asked me for a prescription. Lithium. High dose. He asked me exactly how much it would take to induce tremors and confusion in someone who doesn't have bipolar disorder. He thinks I'm writing the script today. My blood ran cold. Why are you telling me this? Because, Dr. Aris said, I recorded the session. I sank onto my couch. The fabric felt rough under my fingers. This was real. He wants to drug me? I asked. My voice sounded small. Like. He wants to simulate a breakdown, Dr. Aris corrected. He plans to crush the pills into your food or drink. Then when you start showing symptoms of toxicity, tremors, confusion, slurred speech, he'll call the ambulance. The hospital will run a tox screen, find the lithium, and assume you've been self-medicating and overdosed. It proves instability. It grants him emergency temporary guardianship immediately. I felt bile rise in my throat. My own brother. We used to build forts in the living room. We used to share Pop-Tarts. What do? I asked. Do I call the police? Not yet, Dr. Aris said. If you call now, it's he said, she said. He'll say he was asking hypotheticals for a book he's writing. He's a liar, but he's a good one. So what then? We give him what he wants, Dr. Aris said. I'm going to give him a bottle of pills later today. But they aren't lithium. They're placebos. Sugar pills. And I'm going to tell him that for the guardianship hearing next week, he needs to submit a comprehensive medical history. I told him I'd write it up for him. And he believed you? Narcissists always believe people are on their side, Dr. Aris said dryly. He thinks he charmed me. He thinks I'm helping him save you. So I have to let him drug me? You have to let him think he's drugging you. Until the hearing. Can you do that? Can you play the victim for 5 days? I looked around my apartment. At my safe, quiet life. At the photo of Nana Rose on the mantel. She looked stern. Disappointed. Don't let him win, Dee, I heard her voice. Yes, I told Dr. Aris. Tell me exactly what to do. The next 5 days were an exercise in terror. And acting. I had to execute the gray rock method. Be boring. Be compliant. Be confused. I met Leo for lunch. He brought me a smoothie. Green goddess, he said smiling. Full of antioxidants. Good for the brain fog. I watched him set it down. I saw the slight residue of white powder on the rim. Thanks, Leo, I said. You're so good to me. I pretended to sip it. I kept the straw pinched with my tongue. When he looked at the waiter, I spit it back down the straw. I drank half of it, then poured the rest into a potted plant when he went to the bathroom. 30 minutes later, I started the show. I let my hand shake when I picked up my fork. Whoa, Leo said, his eyes lighting up. You okay? I feel dizzy, I mumbled. I slurred the word dizzy just a little. Everything is spinning. It's just the anxiety, Leo said, leaning in. He looked hungry. Maybe we should get those papers signed, Dee. So you don't have to worry about the estate anymore. I can handle the taxes. The lawyers. You just rest. Maybe, I whispered. I'm just so tired. I know, he said. He reached across the table and patted my hand. Big brother is here. I've got you. I went home and threw up. Not from the smoothie. From the touch of his hand. That night I didn't sleep. I prepared. If we were going to court, I wasn't just bringing Dr. Aris's recording. I was bringing everything. I turned my living room into a war room. I printed the bank statements showing the withdrawals he faked. I printed the rental agreement for the Range Rover. I found the lien from the New Jersey investors. But I needed more. I needed to prove I was competent. I went to my own doctor. A neurologist. I paid cash for a rush appointment. I need a full cognitive evaluation, I told him. MRI. Psych eval. Everything. Today. Diana, this costs thousands out of pocket for a rush like this, he warned. Do it, I said. I spent 6 hours in machines. I answered questions until my brain hurt. Count backwards from 100 by sevens. Remember these 5 words. Draw a clock. The results came back the next day. Cognitive function, superior. No signs of mania, dementia, or psychosis. I scanned it, encrypted it on a USB drive. Then the final piece. I hired a forensic accountant. A friend from grad school named Marcus. I need you to trace Leo's debts, I said. Not just the lien. Everything. The bookies. The credit cards. Marcus called me back in 12 hours. This guy isn't just in debt. He's underwater with ankle weights. He owes $80,000 to a casino in Atlantic City. He took a loan out against his own inheritance house 3 days after Nana died. He's bleeding out. Perfect, I said. He's dangerous, Marcus warned. People like this, when they get cornered, they bite. He thinks I'm the one in the corner, I said. The day of the hearing arrived. It wasn't a big courtroom drama. It was a private competency hearing in a judge's chambers. Just me, Leo, his shark of a lawyer, and the judge. And Dr. Eris. I wore an old sweater. No makeup. I let my hair look a little frizzy. I walked with a slight shuffle. Leo was glowing. He wore a navy suit. He looked like a senator. Your Honor, Leo's lawyer began. We are here with heavy hearts. Ms. Vance is unwell. We have documented outbursts. Financial erraticism. Paranoia. The judge, a tired-looking man named Judge Holloway, looked at me. Ms. Vance? Do you have representation? No, Your Honor, I whispered. I let my hands tremble on the table. Leo shot a look at his lawyer. Victory. I want what's best for the family, I mumbled. Very well, the judge said. Let's review the evidence. You have medical evaluations. Yes, Leo said. He stood up. He was preening. Dr. Eris, my family psychiatrist, has prepared a full report on Diana's deteriorating condition. He's here to submit it. Leo gestured to Dr. Eris, who was sitting quietly in the back. Leo smiled at me. It was a smile of pure, unadulterated malice. Goodbye, sister, that smile said. Thanks for the cash. Dr. Eris stood up. He walked to the bench. He was holding a thick manila envelope. He placed it in front of the judge. This is the report, Your Honor? Judge Holloway asked. Dr. Eris adjusted his glasses. Actually, Your Honor, no. The room went silent. This is a transcript, Dr. Eris said, his voice filling the small room. And a thumb drive containing audio recordings of Mr. Leo Vance conspiring to poison his sister with lithium carbonate to induce symptoms of mania. Leo's smile froze. It didn't drop. Just solidified. Like concrete setting. Excuse me, the judge asked. He leaned forward. The symptoms Ms. Vance has been displaying? Dr. Eris continued, gesturing to me. Are a performance. One she and I coordinated. The pills Leo has been crushing into her food for the last week were sugar placebos I provided to him. Objection. Leo's lawyer shouted. He looked confused. This is privilege. You can't. Crime fraud exception, I said. I dropped the confused sister act instantly. I sat up straight. I stopped shaking. I looked Leo dead in the eye. The crime fraud exception to attorney-client or doctor-patient privilege applies when the client seeks advice to commit a future crime, I stated clearly. My voice was steady. Conspiracy to commit bodily harm is a crime, Leo. Leo stood up. She's lying. He's lying. They're sleeping together. This is a setup. Sit down, Mr. Vance, the judge barked. I reached into my bag. I pulled out my own binder. It thumped heavily onto the mahogany table. I also have a sworn affidavit from a forensic accountant detailing Leo's $1.2 million in gambling debts, I said. And the rental agreement for the car he claims to own. And the logs from my bank showing he committed wire fraud to spoof withdrawals. I opened the binder. I slid a photo across the table to the judge. And this, I said, is a time-stamped photo of Leo crushing the pills Dr. Eris gave him into my smoothie 3 days ago. Taken by a private investigator I hired. Leo looked at the photo. He looked at me. The color drained from his face so fast it looked like a special effect. He went gray. Then white. He choked out. Come on. It was a joke. I was testing him. He pointed at Dr. Eris. You were testing me by asking for lethal dosage levels? Dr. Eris asked. Your Honor, I said. My brother didn't just want the money. He was willing to destroy my brain to get it. He was willing to risk my kidneys, my thyroid, my life. For a poker debt. Judge Holloway looked at the transcripts. He looked at the photo. He looked at Leo, who was now sweating profusely. The judge pressed a button on his desk. "Bailiff," the judge said. "And call the officers waiting in the hallway." Leo scrambled back. No. No. You can't. I'm the guardian. I'm the older brother." "You're under arrest," a voice said from the door. 2 officers stepped in. I'd called them an hour ago. Dr. Aris had sent over the evidence in advance. They were just waiting for the signal. Leo tried to run. Not a sprint, just a pathetic shuffle toward the side door. The officer grabbed his arm. Leo jerked away. "Get off me. She's crazy. She's the crazy one." Leo screamed. He was pointing at me, his finger shaking. "Look at her. She's smiling. Only a psycho smiles like that when her brother is being arrested." I was smiling. I wasn't happy. I wasn't joyful. But I was satisfied. "I'm not crazy, Leo," I said softly. "I'm just an accountant. And you didn't balance the books." They cuffed him. The click of the metal was the loudest sound I have ever heard. He started crying as they dragged him out. Ugly, sobbing tears. "Nana would hate you. She would hate you for this." I didn't flinch. "Nana would have disowned you months ago," I said. The door closed. The room was quiet. The lawyer was packing his briefcase with frantic, jerky movements. I had no knowledge of this," he stammered to the judge. "I'm withdrawing as counsel immediately." He ran out. I looked at Judge Holloway. "I assume," the judge said, looking over his glasses, "that the motion for conservatorship is withdrawn?" "With prejudice," I said. "Dismissed," he banged the gavel. The aftermath wasn't quick. Real life isn't a movie where the credits roll after the arrest. The legal battle was messy. Leo was charged with conspiracy to commit aggravated assault, attempted poisoning, and wire fraud. Because of the amount of money involved and the predatory nature of the scheme, the DA went hard. He took a plea deal. 5 years. He's currently in a minimum security facility in upstate New York. I went to see him once. Just once. He looked smaller in the jumpsuit. The tan was gone. The bravado was gone. "Why?" I asked him through the glass. "You could have just asked for help. I would have paid off the bookie, Leo. I would have helped you." He looked at me. His eyes were dead. "I didn't want your help, Dee," he sneered. "I wanted what was mine. I'm the oldest. It should have been mine." "It was never yours," I said. "That was your problem. You thought the world owed you a living." I stood up. "Don't come back," he said. "I won't," I replied. And I didn't. I sold Nana's house. The proceeds went to a trust for his kids. My nieces. I made sure their tuition was paid. I made sure his wife, who had no idea about any of this, didn't lose everything. She divorced him, obviously. We have lunch once a month. She's a good person who married a bad one. As for me, I didn't buy a Porsche. Kept my Honda. I kept my apartment. But I did make one change. I bought the land next to Nana's old swampland in Florida. Not for development. For conservation. I named it the Rose Vance Wildlife Preserve. There's a plaque there. It lists the founders. Diana Vance. Just one name. No partners. No guardians. Sometimes late at night I still check my bank accounts. Not because I'm scared Leo is stealing from me, but to remind myself that I'm in control. I see the balance. I see the freedom it represents. And then I look at Miso sleeping on the rug. People think revenge is loud. They think it's screaming matches and thrown drinks. It's not. Revenge is silence. Revenge is safety. Revenge is knowing that the person who tried to destroy you is sitting in a 6x8 cell wearing scratchy polyester, while you are drinking tea on your balcony listening to the birds. Dr. Aris called me last week. Just to check in. "How are you sleeping?" he asked. "Like a baby," I said. "Good," he said. "You know, Diana, you were the strongest patient I never officially had." "I had a good doctor," I told him. I hung up. I watched the sun set over the city. Leo wanted to write a story where I was the villain. He wanted a tragedy. Instead, I wrote a survival guide. And the best part? I didn't even have to make anything up. I just let him sign his name on the dotted line.